Here we are under the bonnet of the Hilux. We're going to start doing the electrical fit out under the bonnet. There's quite a bit going on. Going to keep it very simple though. We've got a fuse bracket going here from Kaon to mount MIDI fuses and the auto reset circuit breaker for the ToPro. So on that we're going to have 5 MIDI fuses. We've got one for the canopy to charge all the batteries in the canopy. We've got another one for the van to power the charger in the van, to charge all the batteries in the T-van. We've got 2 for the ARB twin compressor. That takes a MIDI fuse per motor on the ARB twin. And then we've got an auxiliary US Anderson plug going on the side here, so we can pull any power off this battery or we can charge this battery. So that's 5 MIDI fuses. There's a ToPro, Red Arc ToPro going on for the van brakes. So that's going to have an auto reset breaker mounted here. Any low power accessories are going to come off the standard auto accessories fuse box here that's under the Hilux. So at the moment we've got 2 fuses in here, one for the driving lights, one for the fog lights, and we're just going to add another one for the UHF at this stage. And there's plenty of spares in case we want to add extra lighting while we're driving. So that keeps it nice and simple. Everything's in one spot, labelled, and easy to fault find if we have any issues on the road. So let's get into it. So here we have the gear that we're going to put in for the fuse holders. We've got the Kaon fuse bracket for the Hilux. We've got the LMI MIDI fuse holders with a buzz bar. The auto reset circuit breaker for the trailer brakes, and nuts and bolts. So we'll get into it and start mounting everything up. So the LMI fuse holders just slot together. There's a keyway in the side of each of the modules and they just slot together. So you can stack up to 7 of them with one bus bar. We're only putting 5 in because we only need 5. They just slot together and then we bolt them onto the bracket. And we mount the 5-way bus bar, join them all together so we don't have to run individual feeds to each fuse. We just run one feed from the battery to the fuse blocks and then individual feeds out to all our circuits. And there we have a 5-way MIDI fuse holder with a bus bar that's going to mount to the Kaon bracket. So now we've got the corner ones done. We'll just go through and put all the rest of the middle bolts in. Okay, that's all the Bussman MIDI fuse holders on the Kaon bracket. We've got the auto reset breaker. It's going to sit up here, so we'll bolt that on. There we have it. The MIDI fuses, auto reset circuit breaker for the trailer brakes, and we're going to mount a Anderson plug on the front here, so that way we can either pull power out of the battery or charge the battery. So now we're going to do the Anderson connector on the front of the Kaon bracket so we can charge it, and we'll connect that up to one of the fuses. So we've got some cable, some lugs, nuts and bolts, and a bit of heat shrink. So let's go. There we have it, Anderson plug on the Kaon bracket, a couple of fly leads. One is going to run around like that to that fuse, and the negative is going to run around that way onto the negative of the battery. So that's why they're there. So we'll just bolt that into the car and do the last couple of connections. Okay, so we have the Kaon bracket that just bolts right there on top of the battery. Just tuck them out of the way for the time being until we bolt it down. And there we go, got the Kaon bracket on the battery, 4 MIDI fuse holders to run to the back, one for auxiliary output here, and the circuit breaker for the trailer brakes. Okay, so we've got the MIDI fuse holders. We're going to run a power cable from the battery positive to the MIDI fuse holders, and we're just going to do a little link from the bus bar to the van brakes, and then we can run the van brake circuit off the auto reset circuit breaker. So I've just made up that little link. We're just going to throw that in. There we go, that links onto the circuit breaker. We'll run the circuit breaker off to the tow pro, and we'll just get a little insulation cap to put on top of that so they're not exposed. That way all the connections are insulated. Okay, so here we've made up the link to go from the battery positive up to the fuse blocks. So we're going to terminate this end first, and then the battery end. So just put that cover on while we're doing this. So we have the link up to the MIDI fuse holders using a heavy duty 35 square mil cable, which is certainly big enough to carry the loads that are coming out of this end. So there we go with the first part of our electrical installation under the bonnet. We'll leave it there. We've got to run cables to the back when the canopy comes on for the tow pro, the van charging, the canopy power, and the compressor. So that'll all run from here to the back. We'll do another video on that. And we've just got the first part here. So all good.